So, hello and welcome to another episode of the Two Medics podcast. My name is Imran Naska. I'm a consultant radiologist.
And hi, my name is Tusha Gunwardna. I'm a cardiology registrar subspecializing in intervention.
Therusha, how you been, man? It feels like the episode was a long time ago, and that's because we delayed recording this episode again, and now we're
Delayed
recording at
reporting
the
it.
last minute. Reporting, yeah, sorry, recording
So,
again,
Brad,
and now we are recording very, very late into the night on a Sunday night.
we
So
are.
a lot has happened. Yeah, how you been?
Yeah, not bad, man. Stuff keeps happening. It's just, busy. I'm so busy
Yeah,
doing
busy. You love being
busy.
busy. We all love being
Yeah,
busy. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we were meant to record on Thursday, and I think I got to near the time, and I thought, "No, mate, I'm knackered. I'm knackered.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's just, yeah, too busy hustling, man. That's the way it is. Just hustling, hustling, hustling.
The
You're
grind.
not on call then?
I'm not, thank God. Not for another couple of weeks, actually. So, next week I'm doing my Gooch week. I know you like to hear the word Gooch.
Yeah.
Um,
I know what that is now, thanks to this podcast.
yeah. so, like, So, as part of your training, you're supposed to spend like a week kind of sitting in those kind of clinics because they're quite kind of specialized. So it'll be like being a medical student, I'm told. You just kind of sit there, which would be weird. Kind of looking
Love
forward to
it.
it, but kind of
Love
not
it.
because I'm like, oh, what if they ask me a question? I'm definitely not going to know the answer and stuff. But
Yeah, but it's slightly different because you're getting paid to sit there. That's
I'm getting
awesome.
paid. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
sit there to learn
anytime.
nothing. Brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah.
keep going. I'd do that for a long time if they let me.
Yeah, so that's me. So hopefully next Thursday I won't have an excuse. I'll be nice and ready, warmed up for you.
Hmm. Yeah. I've actually been. I wouldn't say. That's the thing. Maybe I mentioned this the other day that I was telling someone that I'm busy, and when I told them my busy, they were like, "You ain't busy." So again, I was busy, but Imran Laska version of busy, just pulling in a few shifts. But it's been good as well. Like I've actually really enjoy them, like teleradiology. So I've been doing a fair bit more. Just because the opportunity came my way, and I've actually strangely enjoyed it. It's been really
Hmm.
good. It's been really, really fun. Seen some really cool cases. Yeah, been learning lots of things and stuff. So I might do it for a little bit longer. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if I've
Hmm.
got the energy in me. But I've genuinely enjoyed doing it. And anything beats being on the ward and running around and stuff. So even when it gets busy, I always remember that it's just better than running around, just sitting here with a coffee, looking at a screen. You can't, to me anyway, you can't beat that personally. So
Yeah.
it's been good. I've been
Cool.
enjoying it. And kids have been on half term as well, which has been nice. Which has been
Yeah.
nice as well. Actually, I've
I,
got to
I think
say.
that's probably part of why there's that feeling of tiredness and busyness because it has meant more has been on,
Yeah,
I
yeah, but
guess.
they've had things to do as well this week. Like even today, I had to take one to a Halloween party with their mates. It was quite
Hmm.
cute, you know. And she
Ah.
dressed up as, oh yeah, you're not gonna like that. She dressed up as Harry Potter. Yeah, she dressed up as Harry Potter.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah, maybe that was a bit of a balls up. I don't know. Right.
We should go into balls up, shouldn't we?
Yeah, should we go to the balls up of the week? So, Thrusha, who gets a Manscaped balls up of the week? So, um,
Who gets it?
yeah. So, who gets it? And then I'll quickly talk about our sponsor.
Yeah, so we're going to give a shout out to Lizzie Thornhill, who highlighted a male doctor. So the tweet goes: had a good run, but sadly today encountered yet another male doctor who felt the need to pointedly say how surprised he was that I am an orthopedic registrar, especially as I'm a girl, and it's lots of heavy lifting. I look like a surgeon. It's a hashtag, and I just didn't get where this trope comes from. And I think that male doctor probably says a lot about himself if they're worried about the heavy lifting. I guess maybe they should be lifting more, and then maybe they're just not lifting enough, and so they're worrying about
Yeah,
other people. Like I think
yeah, true that,
so. I think they've
true
really
that.
balls that up. They've told us a lot about themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, do you even lift, bro? That's the question,
exactly.
isn't
Essentially, probably not.
it?
Um,
Yeah, I mean, look, so quickly about the sponsor, Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered tools for family jewels. Manscaped Performance Pack is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million people worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. You get 20% off free worldwide shipping with the code 2medics at Manscaped. If my math's correct, that is about 12 million balls. Right. So look,
yes.
genuine. I'm not even joking. I really do. I really do like these products. We've got sent the Performance 4.0, and it's a bit of a game changer. Again, I really do like it. It's a lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, a weed whacker, which is basically for the ears and nose hair trimmer, a crop preserver ball deodorant, a crop reviver toner and performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. Listen, honestly, the boxes are really good. Thrush, have you tried the boxes yet?
Yeah, I'm wearing them right now.
Oh, you're wearing the
But
one now. Oh,
I
on
am,
brand. Yeah, go on.
yeah. But
Yeah.
you were saying, going a bit off piece, but you do really like the smell, don't you, of
Oh, the
the
actual,
toner?
yeah, I really do like the smell of the deodorant and stuff. Yeah, I've got it here. Yeah, really nice.
I've taken them. So they're in my bag. I quite like the little travel case, so I've got that in my bag. And
Mm.
I do. I think the nose trimmer is quite nice because just to kind of being real.
Yeah.
Some nose trimmers, I don't know. I find that like afterwards, I kind of feel a little bit. I get a bit of an itch. I get
Mm.
an itchy nose afterwards, and
Mm.
a bit of a sore throat. Because I think probably like the debris or something like goes down the back of my throat. Do you get that? I don't know. But anyway,
I don't remember no, I don't get the sore throat, but I know about the itchiness and stuff. I get
yeah,
that.
that's a bit
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, how do you find? So I used the the lawnmower about
Mm.
10 days ago now.
Mm.
Have you felt any after effects of that? You feeling stubbly, or how's the growth? Have you had to use it again?
No, I think it's very good. I'm no issues at all, genuinely. But like, I think that's what I said about the other day. I mean, you're talking about the fourth generation trimmer.
Yeah,
It features a cutting edge ceramic blade, which is always lovely to think about. Reduce your grooming accidents thanks to the advanced skin safe technology.
nice.
It's waterproof and also has a 4000 K LED spotlight. The spotlight, honestly, is genuinely good. I think we talked about the other day that there's not many. Basically, male grooming is not something that's really thought about, talked about, and I feel like not much attention is given to it. And like before you even got approached by Manscaped, I didn't really think much of hair care, or any sort of care down there really,
Yeah.
or anything like that. And
Oh my
then
god.
when you've got
Yeah.
something like this, it's quite cool. I think,
I was
oh, it's
telling a
nice.
friend about it
Yeah.
actually, and he
Mm,
was saying about he will remain nameless, but when he was
mm,
at when he was at uni,
mm,
he took a girl back to his
mm,
flat, and he realized it had been a little while
mm,
since his balls had seen any action, and he kind of felt like it was a bit bushy down there, so he kind of made an
mm.
excuse to go to the bathroom,
Oh
but then
no.
quickly went to the kitchen, got some scissors out, and then
Oh my God.
went to the bathroom and like gave his bush a trim, and then hid the scissors behind the kind of seat, or something. Like he was like, I had to hide them
Mm,
in the toilet, obviously, in case it got found, and then kind of flush the hairs down the toilet. And I thought that was kind of precarious because using scissors, I think the risk is that afterwards you're just gonna there's gonna be loads of hairs that are gonna shed in the bed, and so then that person is gonna be like, "Well, this guy's like molting. Like, what the hell's going on?" So that would be another good reason to have like a good pair of trimmers for
yes,
that. I mean, not that
exactly.
that's ever an issue with me, but yeah, there you go.
Anyway, there you go. So look, get 20% off with free shipping and the code 2medics at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code 2medics. Unlock your confidence. Always use the right tools for the job with manscaped.com. So at least get the
Cool.
boxes. Honestly, if you support the podcast, get the boxes at least and tell us what you think. Do tweet us and tell us what you think.
Staying on topic of kind of tea
Hmm.
bags, there was a tweet from Tanya Sekand who says, "Nothing
Yeah.
ruins your day like being told stealing tea bags on a ward. You're stealing tea bags on a ward where you've spent 3 months working your ass off."
Yeah, it's that constant thing of the idea that you're stealing if you have the ward stuff, isn't it? Like, why? There's literally no perks. There's no perks. You can't even have a tea bag. You can't even have a tea bag. Come on, man. We've seen this before. I told you that time when our trust actually emailed us saying like any eating of biscuits is going to be counted as theft and be referred accordingly.
Oh
Oh, wow,
yeah,
man, you're really going to get the police involved. I mean, as a young F1, I just imagine that, the police are going to come in and be like, Imran, you need to
yeah.
come with us. I'm like,
Handcuff you
what?
and walk you away.
Yeah, exactly. And then next thing you know,
I'm
you're being taken away.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go the other way on this one. Not
Mm.
because I think it's bad to take NHS tea bags, like whatever, like how much are
Mm.
they really worth? But they're crap though. They're like they're
Do
just
you even
terrible
know
quality.
tea?
Exactly. So I take my I take my own tea bags in, and if anyone accused me of stealing an NHS tea bag, I'd be like, "Excuse me, I would
How
not.
dare you?
Yeah, I would not drink that stuff. It's disgusting. It's just not very good." And I saw someone. Who was it? Someone on Twitter like not long ago, and it still hurts me to think about it. That's why it's come so readily to my mind. Who was like, "I don't get the whole like Yorkshire tea thing," and I was like, "That's
Mate,
ridiculous."
that could have
Like,
been me. I probably said something like that to you. Yeah, I'm
what?
sure I've said. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure I've
It's
said
nice
something like
now.
that to you. No,
I
now I agree.
think
I mean, we did get sponsored by them once, and I've got their
yeah,
tea bags now, and
it's a
that's
massive
it. I've been
difference.
on them for
So,
yeah, yeah.
so I've got a little Tupperware that I take to and from work that I kind of replenish that has my own sweetener, and my own tea bags in. Sometimes I will dip in a little bit of milk. That'll be NHS milk, sorry. But most of the time, client who knows.
The police will be after you straight away
Damn
for
it!
stealing the NHS milk.
Yeah,
But
gotta take
have
my
you
own
noticed
milk.
that? Well, sometimes I'm on the times I am at work. I'm walking down the corridor and you can see them like transporting a whole load of, I'll say, goods, I guess, for the wards. And this is like branded stuff, like proper
Yeah,
Weetabix, cornflakes,
ready
like
break.
PG tips, yeah, ready break. This is not, if I was doing it, I'd be like own brand this, own
Yeah, yeah,
brand
yeah.
that,
Aldi.
the cheapest Aldi. Oh yeah, Aldi as well. Like, it'll be all of that stuff. I wouldn't be going for the big brands like this. But I mean, I know we say that NHS tea bags aren't all that, but I suspect they're going to be the Tetleys or they're going to be
Yeah.
PG tips. From what I remember,
Yeah, they're usually
walking
PG
along
tips,
and
and they're
seeing.
PG tips is terrible. So it goes at the bottom rung. It's probably no, it's probably Thai food, and then it's PG
Oh yeah,
tips,
okay, Thai
and then
food.
it's
Man, you're
Tetley,
coming out there. You're
and then
coming out of
it's
it today.
I don't know anything else, and then there's Yorkshire tea. I think. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't care about all this stuff at all. And I think I used to buy like a red label something from
Oh,
Sainsbury's. It was like a red box for a long time. But then genuinely, after getting sponsored by Yorkshire that one time, like
yeah.
I've
We're
genuinely
just
started
completely sold
going,
out, haven't we?
yeah,
We're
just
just
like, you know
advertising
what,
all
that's
kinds
it.
of people.
Well, we're not even sponsored by them
I know.
anymore,
Not
but
even, yeah, I
I'm
just
still
genuinely
talking
like
about
them.
it. Yeah, yeah.
God.
Hopefully with the same with
Wow.
Manscaped, but
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I suspect I will be.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? But then there was another tweet that kind of it was something about having lunch. Did you see that one? Similar
Yeah,
sort of
a similar
sentiment.
vibe. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that was
similar
from
vibe
KM,
to
wasn't
to
it?
yeah,
So
that's
she
right.
was. I think someone had made a tweet about they were talking about how they'd kind of walked through a waiting room, and there were just people who
Hmm.
were waiting for a really long time. So someone had said. The question was question for medical professionals. It was a tweet from Matthew Bevan. Do you all
Hmm.
sometimes just go and take your lunch break while there are people in the waiting room? Could you not just tell them it'd be another 45 minutes so they can go get their own lunch? And I think that kind of really shows how much they misunderstand how it works. Like we don't all just
Hmm.
kind of like up, down tools and all go off for a little jolly 45 minutes. Like it kind of staggered.
Hmm.
So there's always people seeing patients. So it's not often the case that you'll be like going out to patients and being like, yeah, sorry, there's literally not going to be anyone there for 45 minutes.
Hmm.
And also the idea that you have that 45-minute kind of free lunch break sounds
Hmm.
delightful.
But I think this must be talking about a very specific kind of medical. I mean, this could work in a situation. Well, I mean, let's say waiting room, right? So this can be like a clinic situation, or my version would be sort of ultrasound clinic, where, yeah, you walk in and there's maybe some people waiting there. But I always feel I don't like. So obviously, allegedly, this may have happened that that we had a gap, and so between patients, so I went down and I was doing some other work or talking to my mate downstairs, grabbing a tea or a coffee, and then I came back and there were like three waiting, and I was like, why are there three waiting? So I looked at the person that's helping me. I said, listen, why are there three waiting? I don't like having three people waiting. It's like, oh yeah, I like to make them build up. I'm like, whoa, is that what other people do? And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, no, mate, not with me. And the reason why I don't like it is because these people are paying for parking. So like, why would I want them to be waiting out there for longer and having to pay more for parking? It doesn't seem fair to me just because I'm having a jolly and two or three people just let it build up and I get through them quickly. So I don't know, man. I don't if I can help it. I don't like people waiting. And obviously there are situations where you can't help it. Something turned up or your meetings overrunning and you can't get out, even though you're meant to be starting a list as soon as possible. But as much as you can help it, I do try and make sure that I'd rather not have lunch than make someone wait 45 minutes. Personally, I don't know.
Mm,
There's just very few circumstances where I think, for me, in doing clinics. But I understand that if you're running around in the wards and all that that's a different ball game. It's a completely different ball game from all of this stuff, isn't it? You can't compare the two. So when someone like Matt talks about this, I assume they're talking about a very specific part of being a medical professional in a specific circumstance. Um, yeah. Um, I mean, talking about, I mean, we were talking about tea bags and all that kind of thing earlier, and mentioned Aldi. Strangely enough, Therusha, Aldi's popped up this week, hasn't it? Aldi's been a bit of a.
oh
Why do
God.
people keep picking on Aldi? Like, why? What's
I don't
going on?
know. They make exceedingly good baked beans. and other
Yeah.
things, don't they? And jam,
Honestly, there's a new
coffee.
Aldi in Southgate, and I'm excited. I was like, mate, that's awesome. It used to be home base, and that's become Aldi. I'm like, awesome. I'm definitely going to go to Aldi. Love it.
Yeah.
But who's going to be next? Is it what's the other shop called? B&M? Have you heard of that one?
Uh,
B&M?
it's not quite the same as. Is it? I don't know. I haven't been to
I
B&M.
don't know, but I'm just saying, like,
Actually, that's not true.
you're going to
What's
get
B&M?
upset about Aldi people. You're going to start getting upset about B&M people as well, like whoever works in there. Like, I mean, where do we stop? Is everyone going to
Can
be annoying
So we need to give
that
people some
does
context, don't
work?
we? So like, what's
Yeah.
happening is that we're getting lots of tweets, kind of like in um, recent times, where people are
Hmm.
saying like a person at Aldi gets paid this and a doctor gets paid this, and there's this kind
Hmm.
of discourse, and a kind of that harks to the kind of movement that there is, which is looking for pay restoration for doctors, and there's
Hmm.
intended a ballot for industrial action. And I have to say, we are very much in favour of industrial action, and we're very, 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 very much in favour of pay restoration. It's
Hmm.
ridiculous. It's just this, but the discourse is taking an unusual, it's kind of metamorphosizing, and it's taking a turn. It's taking all kinds of turns. And I think
Hmm.
this is the thing that's making people uncomfortable. But unfortunately, if anyone expresses any discomfort, and I guess you see it in lots of different kind of arenas, like on social media. But people are, if you question that, suddenly you're not part of the movement and
Hmm.
undermining it, you're pulling the ladder up. There's lots of different phrases, right? But this particular one about Aldi just seems really unusual. It seems kind of, well, I mean, unusual in a sense that it's taking a bit of a turn, but you can kind of see that it's kind of taking this kind of weird flip. What do you? I mean, does it? When do you think it's compelling when you compare a doctor
No, I
to an
mean,
Aldi
no,
worker?
not at all. It doesn't even. You know, when they do that, I was like, so, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It literally is as if, like, me and you and I, Thrush, are walking down the street, and say, yeah, I'd really like to get paid more, and then you'd be like, yeah, man, I'd really like to get paid more, and then you look at the Aldi person and say, oh, you over there, why are you getting paid so much? And that person's like stacking the shelves or doing whatever they do, thinking, bro, I'm just doing my work. Like, what do you want from me? I'm just sitting here doing my thing, and it's just like, why are you getting people that are completely unrelated to anything who are doing their own job and doing their own stuff and bringing them involved into an argument that's got nothing to do with anything except your own pay? Like, just concentrate on yourselves, man. What next? You're going to start complaining about the postman, and you can start complaining about the fire, and the fireman, and I don't know, like everyone and everyone, until you get what you think you want, which is, I assume, is pay. And I think it's a good thing in some ways in that, look, you kind of focused what you're saying. Well, no, let me finish. You focus what you're saying you're unhappy about, which is pay. But this is not the way to argue it by saying that this person gets paid more and this person gets paid less. What happened, Ushi?
I just saw a response to it.
Oh,
It
go
said,
on.
"Not a single person making this equivalence would
Mm.
last a day on an Aldi shift."
Yes,
And
and there's
I'm
been
like,
some replies to that. Yeah, that's it.
I've just
And
seen
but that's
that.
the thing. And some medical people, professionals, are been upset with that, saying actually you wouldn't last in our shift and all the rest of it. And it just and this could keep going because you're going to see it going tit for tat. My job's harder than your job. I'm worth more than you, etc., etc. And I've said this before. You're only worth as much as someone is willing to pay you, and you're only worth as much as someone is as much as you're willing to turn up for. So if you genuinely know that you are worth £14 an hour to do your job, then why on earth are you still turning up? Right. And I know a lot of people can say, oh, yeah, but I could go and just go become a dentist. Then go be a dentist. Or you're going to say, oh, but I could go to the city. I've got transferable skills. Then go to the city and use your transferable skills to get the money that you think you're worth, because it's not happening here, clearly. And it's not happened here for a long time. Right.
Yeah.
It's just not.
But
And
yeah.
the idea that some jobs are, the more busy the job is, the more stressful the job is, means that you get paid more is a farce. That's not true. That's not how the
Yeah.
world works. I've said this before. I get paid. I run courses and other people do the courses for me. I get paid for doing jack all sometimes, a
Yeah.
lot. And so what? Are you going to turn around and say, well, it's not stressful enough? You're getting paid for not doing. You don't have enough stress in your work. Therefore,
But
you shouldn't
like,
get paid.
it's amazing
What?
because the disco, if you look at the replies, everyone's just going, yeah, like it's, we've worked in retail, it is harder being a doctor. And I'm like, this is exactly the problem with making this stupid comparison with Aldi. Now the
Mm,
conversation is comparing, literally is comparing how hard it is working out, like what it is like working at Aldi to a doctor, which is just completely like just derailing the argument. and it just kind of is now like and it just focuses on us versus them kind of nonsense, when actually the issue is with the government, and get um realizing our value as doctors, not by compare, but from what as what we do. It's not compared to
Mm.
like what other people do. Like that's just kind of like there is a cost of living crisis. There are lots of people who should be paid more money, but kind of putting it as like, oh, but we need it a bit more than they do. Like it's not helpful,
Mm.
because all you'd end up doing is going down these weird furrows and arguments amongst one another. This whole divide, like it's just so easy. You can just see it, like looking at it now, like looking at this thread. There are all these people who are arguing about how, oh, they did retail and how difficult it was, and that's what the conversation's gone down now. And it's like, mate,
Mm.
you would talk like pay restoration. You're getting off topic. Pay restoration. We should be paid more. It's not about like when you worked in retail and you had all that experience, and like, but that's what happens to the conversation when you talk about stupid things, and that's
Yeah, it
essentially
just
what's
completely
happening.
derails the whole thing. And then I think there was a doctor that turned up on the news. Did you see that? And I think people were
Oh
really
yeah,
gunning him because. So I thought, when that came up, people were like, "You don't represent me. Why are you even turning up? Why are you even turning up? Why are you even talking?" Right. So I thought, okay, he must have said something. They must have got like one of those fringe medics who are going to say the opposite and put them on.
yeah,
And okay, look, being a Muslim person, yeah, this happens a lot. So
yeah.
something happens, and they'll find the most obscure dude, like person, and they'll ask them, and that person will come the most obscure, like something really weird. It's like, no, your average Muslim person does not think like that. Why on earth would you get that person to represent anyone? So I watched it, and at no point did that person say they represent all doctors. At no point did they say they were a BMA representative. And actually, what they said was pretty fair. I didn't think I saw anything particularly upsetting. And straight away, people are after him saying, "Oh, they're just trying to push their own personal profile. They're going to try and get a book deal and all this kind of thing." You think, I mean, or they just got asked their opinion and they went and gave their opinion. And I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but they never said it was anyone else's opinion. They were just saying that yes, they are a doctor and this is what they think. But this is the problem, like it doesn't matter what they say or don't say. The argument becomes something else. Like who are they and why they're talking? They don't represent all doctors. And it's like, yeah, but when you look at what they said, it wasn't. It didn't seem that bad. And so this is what I mean. Like you can muddy the water of the actual message. The actual message here is exactly what you said. Pay restoration. Even if you don't think we should get paid more per se, you're saying that we should at least get the pay. The pay according to inflation. If that's, I think we're worth more than that. I've said that before. But if you're just going to say that pay restoration, which is restoration of the pay according to inflation, but then you start rabbiting on about how hard your work is. Look, I'm going to tell you now, no one cares how hard your job is. No one cares apart from you. You could work 24 hours 7 days a week and no one else would care. No one would care. That's not the point. That's not the point. Your problem is with the government and how much you think you're worth and how much you think that you're not getting paid. It's got nothing to do with the person behind the till. It's got nothing to do with the garbage person picking up the rubbish and how hard they work. It's got nothing to do with any of that. It's
Hmm.
about you and yourself versus your employer. And bringing other people is just a terrible. I just think it's terrible because, sorry, I'm going to go on about this just a bit longer because you're going to go on about, oh yeah, but my job is harder than your job, all right? And you could look at me and say, I mean, I've joked about it. I've been sitting here having a coffee and I was doing work and I got paid hefty. And you're going to say, oh, but Imran, you shouldn't get paid that much because you're sitting at a desk. But that's not how it works. That's not how life is. These people who are, lifting up your rubbish and putting it in how early they wake up, right, to pick up your bin, and they've got to carry these big things and they've got to put it in, and then at the end of the day, they got barely anything to live on. They got nothing, and you're going to turn around and say, well, I'm worth more than that. Well, I don't know, man. Are you worth more than that? That's a very important job, is it not? And their pay is to do with themselves and their employers, and that's their own argument to fix. And if they ever decide to go on strike and say they get paid more, I'm with you, man. You
Hmm.
should get paid more. If you can't afford a nice house and a big car and all that kind of stuff, you go do that. Go get it. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to start arguing and saying that, oh, that person should get paid less or they're getting paid more than me. There's loads of people get paid more than a doctor or equivalent.
Yeah.
It's not hard to find. It's
the thing
easy.
is the thing is that like the thing that kind of gets me is that when you kind of call out stuff like this, people then are like, oh, you're just out of touch, and you're like saying be kind, or like
Hmm.
you're pulling the ladder up, but
Of
actually
course, yeah. Oh, yeah, of
it
course.
and I think the implication there is that there isn't solidarity. And I think I tweeted
Hmm.
to say like, oh, I'm a trainee, so I am.
Hmm.
My interests are very much about pay restoration. I'd very much like to be paid in line with inflation, and
Mm.
have a 30% pay rise. I think that's entirely reasonable.
Oh
I think
yeah,
they should be
thirty
asking for
percent.
more.
Lovely. I'll
Should
take
be
it.
asking for
Yeah.
more, yeah, but like, but they're talking about the implication is that there is solidarity there, but there is solidarity, but you need to have solidarity with the with the right with the people who are in the same situation who need to be paid more, and you need to realize you need to coalesce and organize against um, the, the right people, which is essentially the people who have the power to change that, which is the government. You have to realize
Mm.
who the real kind of issue that what the real issue is. It's like this kind of
Mm.
like weird neoliberalist kind of tax cutting for global companies based
Yeah.
governments. Like
Yeah, my
that's the
God.
issue.
The original budget, which is the thing is, the original budget that came out was echoing the general sentiment that's always shared amongst these lot is we need to make the UK more attractive to the banking industry, and therefore we will cut taxes and reduce bonuses and all this kind of stuff. But then when it comes to the medical profession, they're like, no, but we don't need to make it attractive. We don't need to do anything. We just leave it as it is and let people just flounder around. And the reason is because they don't think they're going to make much money out of the NHS. If there was money behind the NHS, if they thought they could make more money out of it, of course they would cut taxes for doctors and all sorts of other stuff. But they're not thinking like that. That's not their point.
Yeah.
But then I know me being a consultant, right? I've said what I've said. I suspect people, there may be someone who might want to tweet at me, send me DMs. First of all, you go ahead. I don't really care. I've got my own thing going on, whatever. But my point is, right? You also have to understand that just with like being most of the most vocal most vocal people about, let's say, the PA argument as well, that's come up again this week. So the people who are being most vocal about it are fairly junior people most of the time. And if someone like me says, oh look, so what, like they're just minor jobs, like who cares, right? They can say, oh yeah, but you had your good time, you had your training, and you're just going to pull up the ladder. But there is also some point where you look back and you must admit that someone who's kind of a bit further along the line can look back and say, actually, that was a waste of my time. I don't know why I did that. Complete waste of my time. And I'm telling you, you don't want to be doing that. It was a complete waste of you. It would be a complete waste of time. And if someone else wants to get paid to do that, then go ahead and let them do that. Then, and this always happens. I found that in my training anyway, um, they would label things as training that wasn't training. It was service, but they're like, no, 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 it's training. You think, no, mate, I'd rather not be up in the middle of the night looking at scans. You're doing it because I'm cheap. I'm cheap compared to a consultant doing it. I'm cheaper than a teleradiology company doing the night shift, which is why you're making me do the night shift. And you're going to say that, oh, by me doing this, I've become better and all the rest of it. But I could have learned all that stuff some other way. I could have learned it just doing maybe a slightly longer evening shift or something. I didn't have to be awake in the middle of the night. The truth is, it's cheaper, and I'm cheap labor, and that's why you've got me there. Label it whatever you want, but that's the truth of the matter. No one's gonna suddenly spend more money for your training out of the blue because out of the goodness of their heart. And so when you've got this kind of stuff, and you've got a consultant looking back saying, "Listen, yeah, chill out. It's not a big deal," and then you're going to go and say that I'm, gaslighting and pulling the ladder. It may be just experienced looking back and saying, listen, honestly, that was a waste of time. Trust me, you don't want to be doing that for too long. You're going to maybe gain like a couple of things here and there, and then you're going to move on. There was no point, absolutely pointless filling out TTOs. I mean, how useful is putting a cannula in anyway? Really, it's all right. It, I mean, it means that you're a junior doc when you get good at it, but I barely put cannulas anymore. Completely
Mm.
pointless. I just don't see the point. Yeah, I don't know. And I just felt bad for one of our colleagues who did try and speak up about it. And then I could see a whole load of people just coming after them
Yeah.
saying, oh, yeah, I just had a look and Sue, you're a consultant. Of course, you're going to say something like that. It's all right, fine. I'm a consultant. I can't say things either, apparently.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just weird, isn't
even if
it?
it comes from a place of wisdom, which I think it does on this
Yeah.
particular situation.
I think the thing is that um, I think as a profession, there is going to be a bit like herding sheep and trying to get everyone to kind of like agree on everything. Not everyone's going to agree on everything, but simply just kind of say like just if anyone is like,
I agree.
hey,
Yeah.
wait a
Well, I agree with
second
you on
about
that.
this, like just kind of descending on them as obviously just being kind of completely counterproductive and whatever.
But
I just don't think
I
it's
think there are
good.
three things here that I've identified, right, in my personal opinion. First of all, it's ego, massive amount of ego, a huge amount of ego. So you've got what might be happening here is that you've got very smart people getting into med school who are at the top of their game, then going to med school and then they're kind of the middle of the game, maybe in bottom, and then they come out of med school thinking they're the top of the game, and then they turn up and actually at the bottom of the game, right? And then someone else who's not a doctor comes in and does the job that they think they should be doing and maybe doing it better. Your ego gets hit, you feel upset. So that's one thing, right? And one of the biggest bits of advice I ever got in my life so far, and I still use it and keep thinking about it to this day, is like, imagine what you could achieve if you had no ego. And that has genuinely been one of the biggest pieces of like positive things that have happened to me. And that like I have to keep it in check, and it happens a lot, where I kind of stepped a bit too far and realized, oh, that's my ego. Or I've asked myself, why am I doing that? Is it ego? If it's ego, then I should get rid of it. And genuinely, it's been very, very life changing. And
Mm.
then that's one thing I'd say is like that's one thing. The other thing is there's some. I went to a talk once, and then this guy was talking about how people have good days and bad days from the same situation, and he said that one person will come downstairs, and I might have said this before, and your kid drops milk all over you. You've got to go upstairs and get changed, and it makes you late for work, and you almost crash the car. You crash the car, now you're late for work, and you've got to explain to your boss, and you get really angry. You get really angry from the outset, and you're having a go at everyone. The other situation is you come downstairs, a kid drops milk on you. You say, look, why'd you do that? Don't do that again. Go upstairs, get changed, forget about it, move on, have a nice drive to work, and get to work and you're on time. And so the things that have happened are pretty much the same, except one's had a bad day and one's had an okay day. And it's all about perspective. So if you're going to go into work and the PA is going to come in and give you some work or have done some work, and you're going to just take that as a negative, it's going to ruin your day. It's going to ruin your job. You're going to feel very upset. You're going to have a bad day. Or you go in, you think, cool, man, and then move on. There's nothing else to think about it. And you just carry on with the day and do the best that you can. And the final thing I'll say about this is some of you lot need to stop having medicine as such a massive part of your identity. Like, go do something else. Like, please, like, go find a pastime or do something else, right? Because medicine itself is changing and it's going to change and it's going to keep changing. And not everyone cares about what you do or what you get up to. And so, if you get to a situation where you're feeling undervalued at work and stuff, as long as you're getting paid for the work that you do, then who cares, man? Go enjoy the rest of your life. The only issue is that, yeah, fine, we've got this pay restoration thing, and if it's that big a deal, then you might need to think that maybe medicine isn't for you. But if you can see the bigger picture, which I think is a decent bigger picture, 'cause I haven't been all the way to the other end now, it's pretty nice at the other end. I've got to admit. Like I'd look back and say I'd do it again if I could have
Yeah,
the life I have right now.
yeah,
I think it's worth it in the long term, but I don't think other professions have really got that. And when
yeah.
I looked into work in the city, I'd have to work a lot harder for the money I make, and I make more than that. So it's just you got to think about the bigger picture, and also just not. I don't know. It's just a job. It's just a job, man. Like, please, just go and do your job, do the best you can, and don't get so upset about stuff. I don't know. Am I being silly?
No, no, but
Yeah.
no, but like, the thing is, though, there is a lot of like, it's weird, isn't it? Because we talk about when you apply to medical school and the stuff that they kind of expect you to say to like get in, like, why do you want to do
Hmm.
medicine?
Oh
And
yeah.
you know,
Love it.
and
Yeah,
they get
yeah.
you to kind of say all this stuff like, I want to do this and I want to help this person, and but why not? And you're like, oh, but genuinely, like, and all this kind of stuff you say, and then when you get to
Hmm.
being a medic, you're like, oh wow, they're like could really hold you to it, and maybe,
Hmm.
or like maybe that's how it feels, or maybe you feel kind of like trapped, or maybe you thought that there would be. I think there are some like there are some things I think that are quite hard to swallow, like when you see stuff about maybe the public saying, "Oh, like I pay your wages." Um, I think that kind of, things like that kind
I
of
love
make
that. I love
you
when they
love
say
it.
that. It's like good, and I'm not doing a very good job. And there you go.
You get what you pay for. You get what you
You
pay
get
for.
what you pay for.
You
Yeah,
got
pay me
me.
more.
But like, I do think that kind of there probably is a lot of idealism. I think one of the issues, I guess, and maybe we could probably get onto it, is how we kind of make the decision to become doctors kind of early on in life, and maybe I don't know. It's based, and it's funny, isn't it? Thinking about the kind of state of mind I have now compared to like the kind of my perspective on life as a kind of 15, 16, 14, 15, 16 year old when you're thinking about GCSEs and A levels, which ones to choose and like an application and stuff.
Mm.
Because I don't think it'd be quite as easy to kind of explain. I remember like actually when I was at medical school and I knew this kind of guy who was at medical. He was a doctor, and he was doing his MRCP. And I remember
Hmm.
him saying, like, I have done part one. I've tried part one maybe 4 times, and I failed it each time. And each attempt cost me £400. And obviously, to like a 16-year-old, or however old I was, maybe 17, 18-year-old, £400 was a crazy amount of money. To me.
Hmm.
I was like, that's a
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
amount. And what, you fail that exam 4 times? How can you fail that exam? That means you paid £1,600 to fail that exam.
Hmm.
And it blew
Hmm.
my mind. I was like, Jesus, I'd be working day and night to pass that exam because that's like 4 Xboxes and a whole bunch of games. Like, I remember thinking to myself, like, that's actually completely bonkers. Like, how can
Hmm.
an exam be, if it's that hard, like, don't do it. Don't do it until you feel ready and then do it or whatever. But obviously, then like doing the exam and failing it many, many times, like, I realized, like, obviously that my perspective on life is completely, just it
Hmm.
just didn't get it. Just didn't get like what the exam was like, what your situation is like. You just don't see it because you can't appreciate it. And there's only a certain amount of people can kind of prepare you for that. So I do feel bad for
Hmm.
people in that way, and I feel like people are feeling like they're being shortchanged. And I just don't feel like we're real enough with people. But I think also when we try and be real, people are like I don't think they really believe you. Like if you look at there are some
Hmm.
tweets where people are like, oh yeah, you get paid like £200,000. I think they think we're kind of paid like footballers, and I don't know if that's from TV shows or
Hmm.
what, or if like it's because like writers for TV shows look at kind of people from previous generations, or I don't know what's wrong, but
Hmm.
the stuff isn't matching up at all, really. Um,
I agree,
and
but I think with a medical career anyway, you can constantly think about the bigger picture. Like it is a bit of a treadmill, and you think about the bigger picture and what life you really want to have. And if you want to be busy, you can be busy. And if you want to have like a highly stressful job, you can do a highly stressful job where
mm,
things are going wrong left, right, and center, and you're the only person to fix it. You can literally choose that job, right? Okay, I mean, Trisha, I'm sure we've both shared this sentiment at some point in life. We could have been a GP. You must have shared that some
oh
sentiment in your
yeah,
mind at some point. I could have been a GP. Why am I doing this? I could have been done with all the exams and all that stuff at the age of 26, 27, and then I would never have to work a weekend or evening again because it's not really part of the job. I mean, I could if I want to. I know our GP colleagues work very hard, but I'm just saying, like, a hospital medic will constantly think to themselves, I could have just been a GP. Why have I not done that? But the truth is, it depends on what you want long term. There are other stresses that they have, and
mm,
there's stresses that there's some stresses that they have that you don't have, and vice versa. But they, some people have chosen, and I know this from, I'm only speaking from my friend's point of view, they literally only chose GP because of lifestyle.
mm,
That was it. Had nothing to do with them. They weren't interested in it. They didn't particularly care about it. All they want is that they don't want to do weekends, they don't want to do nights, and they don't want to do ward rounds. And the quickest way to do that was to become a GP. I'm
mm,
not saying that's for all GPs, but I think for the people I know personally, that's exactly what they did. And I think that's a fantastic decision on their side of things because they thought about the bigger picture. The bigger picture was that they wanted this from their life. And I think medicine's a unique thing and that you can choose, genuinely choose the life that you want. If you want to get paid a lot,
mm,
let's say you're happy to work hard and you want to get paid mint, right?
mm.
Then do plastics. Ortho's a good one. Dermatology is a good one as well. You know that though. You already know if I said to you which doctors are going to be the richest doctors, you already know which ones they are. The
Mm.
ones who make the most in the private work are going to be those particular doctors. If you want to find the ones that are not rushed off their feet and they get paid decent, they're not running around. Micro's a good one, right? You're not rushed off your feet like this. Pathology is a good one. Radiology is a decent one. You know what I mean? Like you kind of know. Like obviously there are going to be pockets of busy,
Yeah,
but you know from the outset, like if I want this lifestyle, this is what I have to do. If I want this kind of thing, I want this kind of money, this is what I'd have to do. This is why I think medicine is quite unique in that you can just, if you want to, you can fall into a specific pathway will get you to the life that you want if that's what you want.
yeah,
And I don't think, and that's something that PAs don't really have on that kind of level. I don't think they do, because remember what I think one of our guests said. You'll be worrying about how much they're getting paid right now, but how much would you be thinking about in 10 years' time when hopefully you've gone down your career? At the very end, you're out earning them by long shots. Aldi worker, what's the ceiling of income that they're going to get? What's the ceiling, and what's your ceiling, depending on what you choose.
yeah,
You can literally choose your ceiling. You can. If you
yeah,
want to be a millionaire, go be a millionaire. It can be done.
yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, are we going to go into the PA discourse then? I guess.
I think we've already done that, but I'm just saying, like, I know people can get really unhappy with medicine and start pointing the finger at everything else. But I think that also you're in more control of your life than I think you realize. And it took me a long time to realize that I've got more control over what I want to do and what I don't want to do from quite early on
But what about this
because I
whole?
was lazy.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to do anything. And you know this through shit. I didn't want to do anything. And if
sure.
one day I'm not going to do anything
But I guess the.
to,
I mean, that's kind of. It's kind of framing it as if like you can either choose. Well, no, I just kind of maybe they're going coming from the perspective that like there are some things where you end up having to be kind of industrious, and couldn't they be better paid than the ones that aren't so industrious?
yeah, I see what you mean, but I mean that's not how the world works, isn't it?
It's
I mean
not.
you can kick a ball through the net and get paid like multiples of what you do. It just no one
Yeah,
cares.
they
Honestly, it
do.
doesn't
I
work
mean,
like that.
that's not that easy though, either. I suppose.
No, but the I think someone obviously I learned a bit. I do a bit of business stuff. It turns out that if you make a difference to more people, then you're more likely to make more money than making a big difference to fewer people. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about a footballer, they make a huge difference to a massive population of people.
Mm.
Massive. You know, you're talking millions of people watching the
Yeah. All over the
TV
world.
around the globe, right?
Mm.
If every single person gives them a penny for what they do, you're talking numbers.
Yeah.
But then if you've got the highest, best surgeon who does the best knee surgery in the entire world, you make money, but not the same money that that footballer's making.
No.
You won't. You're affecting one person at a
Yeah.
high level, you know, and
Unless he's
it's
the
my McDonald's thing. It's
unless
my
he's the knee
McDonald's
surgeon
thing.
for those footballers, I guess.
Yeah, but he's still not going to make as much as a footballer. It's very
Mm.
unlikely.
True.
How many surgeries are you going to really do?
Yeah.
How's it possible? You can't affect that many people.
Mm.
The only way that surgeon could make more money is to teach a whole load of other surgeons how to do the same surgery
Yeah.
and go global with it. And I don't know, make it a spectator sport. But yeah, just
What about?
like what's I going to say? Yeah, go on.
Sorry, dude. I keep interrupting you. But there's
No,
this
no, no. You go for it.
kind of like moving on. I guess we're
Mm,
talking about kind
yeah.
of paths. There was a
Mm,
tweet that kind of suggested that perhaps when finishing med school, why don't we start at ST3 or an equivalent straight out of med school in their chosen specialty, and PAs cover F1 SHO roles. And I think it
yeah,
kind
whatever,
of
man.
there's
Go
lots of
for
like
it.
misinterpreting of people, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
And so one way I think I certainly took this to begin with, it was like, what? So when you finish medical school, you want to be holding the med-reg bleep. But I think what they might also be saying is perhaps if you just maybe it's like the states where you just go straight into specialty training. So if I wanted to be a
Mm,
cardiology registrar, I start as a kind of junior cardiology registrar at that point. But I still think it's a bit weird because it doesn't really cover what you do as a cardiology. I don't think you necessarily are ready to be a cardio. I wouldn't have felt ready to be a cardiology registrar straight out of medical school, or maybe after F2 even really, or even as a CT. Like I think I would have felt it takes time to cover that role, but it certainly generated. I mean, if you take it at face value, it certainly
mm.
generated a lot of conversation, didn't it? So, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know someone was like, "Oh, yeah." Well, so you're basically saying you come out of med school, go straight into med reg. I don't think that's what they're suggesting. I
No.
think you're going to have it. You'd obviously make contingencies for something like that. Of course, you would. But this is what I mean about how some things are dressed up as training when they're not training. So let's say you took away all that stuff like your discharge summaries, taking notes on the ward round, handing in forms. You took all of that away, then you could get pretty good at the actual medregi stuff very quickly, couldn't you?
Mm.
The actual hindrances of doing all these things that aren't really doctory per se. And so then if you've got someone else doing that work, that means you could concentrate on that and therefore you could get sped up quite quick. Like within 6 months you could be. I don't see why you couldn't be doing something like a medreg role because you would if you had focused training on that particular job. But the problem is that there is no focused training of that. And that's because they need people to be doing all this other stuff. And the way to do that is to dress up as training. So you got to do F1 and F2, where you get competencies and all this stuff. And the thing is, like, I think there are a lot of people out there that know exactly what they want to do. They want to do surgery,
Hmm.
and I would be actually, I don't know whether it would be interesting to know, like, how many people that say they want to do surgery out of med school go into surgery. Because I thought there was a quite a high proportion of them that would actually not go anywhere near surgery in the end.
Hmm.
They'd end up going into other things. So what happens to those people? Do they not? Because I mean, you want to think that the foundation years helps you decide what you want to do, but did it really?
Yeah.
Because most of it's pot luck. Like you bumped into a cardiologist one day,
Yeah.
and then they were nice and they encouraged you and you did it.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
for me.
I
I
thought I was
bumped into a
just.
radiologist one day, and I saw the car he was driving. I thought, yes.
What was he driving?
It was a big 4x4 Range Rover, but before that, you had this Mercedes SLR thing, which is
Right.
like really. You had a sporty. That I looked it up later. It was like a 70 grand car.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, I got to know him quite well and asked him how he got it, and it had nothing to do with radiology, so I got duped slightly.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah, I just. But my point is, like, how much did F1 and F2 really help you decide what you want to do long term?
Yeah.
I don't know if it did. I just happened to bump into someone that was quite nice and encouraging.
But isn't
Um,
that precisely what it is? It is a case of just kind of like seeing what it's like to work with
but
people
can they do that med school?
I
Can they have people come in and talk to you
talk
about
to
it
you.
properly?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
man.
like
If a
talking about
radiologist turned up to med school and said, "I've just parked up in this car," but like, what does it you do?
your
How
car.
do you do it? And how do I get the same thing? Those are my main three questions I ask people like this.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do I do it? And how do I get the same thing?
But people are always going to try and sell their specialties, aren't they? And
I've
so
noticed that, even if it's rubbish.
even it's
Like
rubbish,
I've
right?
met, yeah, yeah, I've met people
Exactly.
who they're miserable. I know they're miserable, and then they go turn around and say, "Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it."
Yeah.
Like, dude, we just had a conversation 2 hours ago about how much you hate it, and now you're telling other people to go do the same thing. Well, what are
Exactly.
you doing?
That's my point. Is you
Yeah,
can't believe these people who turn up to med school and be like, oh, because you don't know what they are like day to day, and like, I tell junior doctors this. I say like, when you're trying to choose a specialty, there's certain things, right? And one of the things is think to yourself about the personality types of the people you're coming across in that specialty. Like, you're going to end
mm.
up going to showing MDTs with them, showing an office with them, and going to conferences with them. If you're going to be spending that amount of time with them, and you
You
think
don't
they're
have
all
to. You don't have to do that. I avoid
you're not
most people.
radiology, yeah, I guess not. But like in most
No,
specialties,
I
though,
swear in cardiology, you must have your person that just does not interact with anyone, not talk to anyone,
it's so
stays
difficult.
quiet at the MDTs, and doesn't turn up to
It's really
any conferences. Or if they do, they go sit by themselves.
but like it's so difficult because you end up, for example, if you want to do a swap or whatever, then you've got to. And I don't really, well, not in the departments I've worked in, not
Oh,
really.
that's business, though, isn't it? No, that's when it comes to bid. Then I'm sure they're like that. Maybe they're so good at you don't even know who they are. That's how
Yeah,
good they are,
maybe.
Tricia. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's it. There's some people I just don't see. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm not in that. I'm not in that arena yet, so I just don't even see the high level chess
Just
that's
avoid
being played.
people.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't even know. I'm just completely the game is just way above me. But
Another level.
basically,
No, I'm joking, but carry on. Yeah,
but my
you're
point
right. Yeah,
is
go on.
that
Yeah, yeah.
I do think that's a great argument for F1 off two. You're right, and I don't think you get a great selection of different kind of specialties. But I do, and I echo the sentiment, I guess, which is to go into something that you want to do. Like, I think the thing is that I think the implication there is that you're doing more of what you want to do, so you're more inclined to engage with it. You'll probably be better at it for that reason. And I don't think there is an awful like the choice that you get for your rotations is a bit like I really want these two, and you kind of have to just suck it up for the rest of them. But what if your foundation program was you just doing jobs that you're like, I want to do those ones? Then you'd probably be
Hmm.
amazing because you'd be doing what you want to, what you chose to do. Um,
I think it's more than that, man. I think most medics or people in general can get good at most things, and once you get good at most things, you're going to enjoy that thing because you think you're good or you get good at
yeah,
it. So it's actually relevant. Like, I think actually a lot of it is to do with what life you want, because the last thing you want to do is really enjoy your job and then not see your family and friends.
yeah,
Like that's more important, I think. And so if you let's say let's say someone comes into medicine and all they know is that they want to get paid bucks because they came from a background where they got bucks and they want more bucks, whatever it is. Then they'll go do plastics or something, and they'll work hard and do plastic. They'll enjoy plastics, and the bucks they make, they'll enjoy it, and they'll carry on doing it for a long, long time. It's not an issue. But if you, I guess, You know, Thrucia, don't tell you the story about me. So, and stop me if I've had said this. So, when I was in F1, an email went around, and they said, "Look, people are trying to swap their F2 rotations.
Yeah,
You know, do you sort? Did I tell you about this?
yeah,
Yeah."
and he
And I
found the
tried to.
easiest job, and everyone was like, "Why is he doing that kind of audiology thing?"
No, they knew it was me because I
Yeah.
was trying to get audiological medicine, GP, and what was the other one? It was something that like I just knew there was no night shifts, and people are like, yeah, but the pay is. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't want to be around. I want to do audiological medicine. Give that to me, and then I couldn't get it, and then people were really gunning me, and I was like, I know you're gunning me, yeah, but what upsets me is that there was someone out there. Oh, it was public health, public health.
Ah,
It was
nice.
public health, GP, and audiological medicine. That was the rotation I was trying to swindle from someone else, and they didn't swap with me.
So what did you get in the end?
Um, I had to do A&E,
Oh,
urology, and GP. Yeah.
the opposite.
You can feel my pain. So you can imagine, yeah, like here's a guy
Public
that
health.
doesn't want to
Yeah.
be there anyway and trying to push everything away from himself as much as possible and ends up having to do those
Oh
rotations.
no.
The one I did enjoy was GP, genuinely. I loved that. I loved GP. It was awesome. I actually
Yeah.
had a fantastic time apart from having a slightly racist GP
Hmm.
supervisor.
Oh god.
Everything else was really good about it.
Hmm.
But the thing is, what did I enjoy about it? I enjoyed going in at night,
Hmm.
in at 9, having a 2 hour lunch break. I guess that might have been different for some people, but for me, I had like a 2 to 3 hour lunch break. So genuinely, at lunch times, I used to just go back home because I live like 10 minutes around the corner,
Nice.
allegedly.
Yeah.
Watch. I had at the time we had Love Film, Prime and all that stuff wasn't a thing. So I used to get movies delivered. So I used to have like 5 movies for the week,
Uh,
and I just had them
just
sitting there waiting. I'd be, okay, so Monday is Monday movie lunchtime. So I just
I,
sit there, have my takeaway, whatever, watch the movie. Oh, time to get back, drive back, 5 minutes.
yeah.
And honestly, it was the most wonderful existence. Like, and I
Yeah.
still look back at it with fond memories of that.
You
For
must
me,
have
I was
watched.
enjoying all
You're
the
watching
things I like
five
to enjoy.
movies a week. Oh my god, I'm so
Yeah, and I was going to
jealous.
the gym. I was like eating well. Like those are, and so that's when I realized that this is what I really want from life. Like whatever I do, it's got to be something that facilitates this. Like
Yeah.
being able to do what I want when I want.
Yeah.
And I think as medics, we've all got it in us to do whatever we want. It's just a case of what life you want, really, because there's a lot of life to go. There's loads
Yeah.
of life to go, man. You don't want to be doing something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
man, we've gone on about this
Yeah,
stuff, and yeah,
that's all
sorry,
right.
sorry, you lot. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
sorry.
it's
Yeah.
okay. I mean, so we're coming
Hmm.
up to like time. There is an
Hmm.
interesting thread that I wanted to mention from Tessa Davis. You know, she's a really wise
Hmm.
accountant. We've mentioned her before, but she
Hmm.
on the 27th of October. So at Tessa R Davis, she's a pediatrician, but she often tweets stuff that's kind of it's not really that necessarily pediatrics based. It's kind of just like life
She's a
lessons.
pediatrician. I
So
did
yeah,
not
she's
know
an
that.
interesting. She
Okay.
goes
Wow.
10 must know Japanese concepts that will improve your life, and just read a few of them. So there's one that's called, although I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. So
Hmm.
ubitori, which means never compare yourself. Everyone blossoms in their own time in different ways. Don't judge yourself by someone else's path. Number 2, kaizen, continuously improve. Constantly strive to improve across all areas of your life. Small changes accumulate and make all the difference. It was just quite a nice thread, really.
Hmm. Very,
And
very. It's nice. Yeah, yeah. And so much applicable to what we're talking about, don't you think?
yeah,
Like what we're talking about right now, in terms of, if you get good at something, you're going to enjoy it more, right? That's just a way of these things. What's the first one again? Sorry, I can't find the thread.
avoid
Don't.
comparison.
Yeah, and avoiding comparison. Like, stop comparing to Aldi people.
Yeah,
Stop it.
absolutely.
Do
Okay,
your own thing.
so
Yeah.
can I get you to read one of the festivals? I put some festivals. You see it
Yeah,
in
I
the
know.
second.
You've written Imran. Is this you?
Yeah, do it.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
God, it's gonna be something nasty, isn't it?
No.
Did you like that video I sent you this week, Felicia? The one of the dog in the car.
Oh, that was so horrible. That's why it like
Okay, so
crapped on
do you
its
want to
own
give some
there.
context to our listeners? Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
so you are like an anti-dog propagandist, and basically whenever whenever there is a bad video of a dog, no doubt you'll find it and you'll send it to me. And even though there's probably like if you looked at all of the videos of dogs in the world, or there must be billions of them,
Don't
you will
flatter yourself. I
find
sent it to Jamie and Christopher as well, so don't worry.
and
I
you
sent it to
will
other
find
people.
that 1 billion video with a slight negative, and you'll send it. And that video was of someone in the car, and they're holding their dog, and the dog emptied their bowels into their lap. And it was, in fairness to the dog, there was, it probably was a Type 5 or Type 4. Like there was solid bits to it, but it's
It's going
probably
all over the owner and the
it's
passenger
all
seat of the
over.
car,
And you know what? That's
and the owner
love.
was holding their nose.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah, you know
that's
what?
gonna smell horrible, isn't it? That's gonna smell
Well,
horrible.
looking back on that, I was thinking maybe the dog's unwell and has got like some sort of bowel issue, and they're taking him to the vet, and it's
Yeah,
just going for it,
emergency.
and there's
Yeah,
nothing. But you know what? I
that's
don't know
love.
how. I don't care. That dog would be out the window. I'm sorry.
That's love, isn't it? Because like, there's no
No,
other reason than for love that you'd hold something in your arms and let it crap on you unless you loved it,
look,
right?
I barely let my children do that to me.
Exactly, and you do
Barely,
that because of
barely.
love. That's the only reason. And so
Not an
that
animal though.
I think that's the take.
No.
That's got to be the take home from that. But anyway, read this.
Whenever I whack off in the shower, I can only do it if I got a bath sponge tucked under my left armpit. I've no idea when it started or why. And so this is what you thought could be
Yeah,
me,
why?
right?
Why though? Why do you think they do that? Why do you think that started?
To stop, it's so obvious, man. It's to stop the shower water getting onto the down there to rub away the lube. Anyway,
What?
okay. It's the that when they get in shower, the sponge soaks up all the water, and then it doesn't go down and ruin the experience. That must be what it is.
Oh. Are you serious? No, that doesn't make any sense. Surely the
I'm
shower
just
water
playing
won't
around
add.
you. I just gave you.
Oh, okay.
I just made something up. I don't know. Try to sound all serious. It's literally what I do an MDT. I just make it all up, and they're like,
Right.
"Cool,
Yeah,
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 no,
yeah.
yeah,
Fine.
yeah,
That's
nice."
obviously it.
I don't do MDT, so don't go. Yeah,
Yeah, don't
don't do
do
that. I'm
that.
trying to find the MDT. I don't do
So I
MDTs. Yeah,
found a more
go on.
wholesome one, which you could read
Yeah,
if you
go on.
want. So,
No, you read it.
oh
Go
yeah,
on.
fine.
Go
It
for it.
goes. It just goes. My kids are grown up now, but I still instinctively shout, "There's a train!" excitedly whenever I see one. And this like rang true for me because
God, so
Aaron
true.
loves a bus, he loves a train, and he'll like,
Hmm.
you can be doing whatever, but if there's a plane, he'll be like, and they're like pointing at, and he'll just watch it, and it's amazing because the
Hmm.
plane will be moving so slowly through the sky, and he'll just be like staring for like
In
ages.
wonderment.
Yeah, like literally over this like moving object just going by. And today we were at the park, and this plane flew over, and I was there with my parents and my brother and his other half and their kid. But we all just stopped to watch this plane go over, like 10 minutes, just like watching. It was just amazing. I was just amazed that this kind of not even 2-year old had just kind of completely monopolized the attention of all these people over this kind of fairly mundane thing, like just a plane
Hmm.
going over the top. But it's just
Children can do that, isn't it? Make you relive something that you just wouldn't care anything about, and be like, okay,
absolutely,
no, that is kind of cool.
yeah.
And also, the thing about children is that they never really leave your mind ever.
Hmm.
We said it before. Like sometimes I'd be, having a date day or whatever, having a day out with Rabia,
Hmm.
and then we'd just be
Talking
talking about
about
what the kids
kids.
would like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, Thing would love that. Thing would love that. Oh, Thing would love that. Oh, they would love that. We should bring him back to this place one day. These never stop, and I can imagine that's going to be the case for a very, very long time. I don't know. Anyway, right.
Cool.
So anyway, thank you to Manscaped again for sponsoring this episode. Do get some boxes at the very least. Use the Two Medics discount for 20% off. Christmas is around the corner. Come on,
Yeah.
go get someone you care about. Something from Manscaped. They'll thank you for it. Go for it. Any parting words, Thrusha?
Um, no, just be careful out there, and comparison is the antidote to happiness. So just be single minded and invest in yourself and believe in yourself.
You know what? I think my advice for the week is probably don't go to Aldi anytime soon, because if there's anything like going to a restaurant and you upset the waiter
Yeah,
and that food comes back to you, you might not be so happy with what could be.
yeah,
The content might not be what you expect, and
yeah.
I
Well,
wonder whether any Aldi workers who do see these tweets going around might not be so nice to you if they know who you are. Anyway, with that, good night. It's good night for us because I will do the editing now and then put it out basically immediately. Cool. All right, then have a great week. Look after each other, and looking forward to interacting with you guys on Twitter, no doubt. Bye.